I'm just glad it didn't happen. I'm glad it happened. Shocked. 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Monday, December 2nd, 2024 Credit River City Council meeting. I just want to hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We got so much to be thankful for, and hope that your holiday was blessed. We'll start by approving or amending the agenda. Is there anything that anybody, council members, would like to change on the agenda? Otherwise, I'd take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill.
Second.
Thank you, Abe. I got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as noted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. There's no sheriff's deputy tonight, so we will skip the sheriff's report and move into consent agenda. Those items on the council agenda are considered routine or non-controversial are included as part of the consent agenda. Unless a council member specifically requests that an item on the consent agenda be removed and considered separately, items on the consent agenda shall be considered under one motion, a second, and a vote. Any item removed from consent agenda shall be placed at the end of general business. Eric, you're
Still mine? Mayor?
no, because I look up there and I see the green box around you. Now you're up.
Okay.
There we go. Perfect.
What's a meeting without that?
One
Someday.
of these days, we're going to train you correctly. All right. Consent agenda items today. 3.1, approve the minutes of the November 15th and 18th, 2024 city council meetings. 3.2, approve the payment of claims. 3.3, approve amendment number 1 to the interim city administrator agreement. 3.4, approve resolution 2024-42 recommending the 2025 renewal of the liquor license for Legends Golf Club. 3.5, approve resolution 2024-43 recommending the 2025 renewal of the liquor license for the Heritage Golf Club. 3.6, approve summary of ordinance 2024-02, the public nuisance for publication. 3.7, approve resolution 2024-44, 6-month time extension request for the City Vision Citizens Advisory Committee. 3.8, accept resolution accepting infrastructure improvements and releasing the financial security for Crescent Curve. And 3.9, approve the ABDO amendments related to consulting fee sheet and change order proposed dated October 2024. Is there any items on the consent agenda any council member would like to remove and consider separately? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Leroy.
Second.
Thank you, Jay. So I've got a motion by Schomer, a second by Soderbach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We'll move to open forum. The public forum is intended to afford the public an opportunity to address concerns to the council. The public forum will be no longer than Amy, I have it already. 30 minutes in length, and each presenter will have no more than 5 minutes to speak. Topics of discussion are restricted to local governmental topics rather than private or political agendas. The council may discuss, but will not take formal action on public forum presentations. We got 2 people that signed up for open forum tonight. It looks like Bruce Wise, you're first. If you don't mind the square button up there, push and hold that down till the green light comes on. There you go.
All right, Bruce Wise, 7601 169th Street. I'm not sure that the council has worked this out, but I'm gonna refer back to October 21st meeting. And I'll just summarize the section where we talked about where there was a survey discussion. So my summarization is Bill wanted a survey. Abe recommended to be included in the newsletter, which was a great idea. The newsletter is out to print. Bill wants to move ahead with the survey. Jay's not sure if his group wants to do a survey or not, and asks if Bill can hold off until Jay figures stuff out. I sat in the back of the room and thought that lack of organization and communication between staff, council members, and committees needs some work. It may have been small dollars at the time, but as the budget increases and there's more of this going on, I feel like there needs to be a little bit better coordination between the groups. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Next up, Cheryl Haberlack.
Okay, this will be brief, but I just wanted to let everyone know that our survey, is ready for, residents to take. The postcard went out on Saturday, so it'll be arriving at all the customers that credit river's homes within the next week or so. And we just need your input. There's 3 questions. You can leave comments. There's a QR code where you can scan. There's a website you can, fill out the, survey that way, or, you can come in and we'll give you a hard copy to fill out here if you would prefer. But we want to use, your input on these values to develop our city's vision and mission statement.
Perfect. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. The QR code works. I just tried it.
Yep, I did too.
Awesome. Anybody else for open forum tonight that didn't sign up? No? Hearing none, we will close open forum and we will move on to public hearings. We have a public hearing tonight. And tonight is the annual opportunity for the public's input on the city's stormwater pollution prevention program. With that, we will open the public hearing and allow anybody who wishes comment on our stormwater pollution prevention plan. You may step up to the podium and speak.
Not everybody at once.
Right? And we didn't ask for a sign up, so I mean, you can step up and speak on that. And again, if anybody wants to step up and speak on the
He'll be anonymous. Not yours.
hit mute on yours. Oh, that's the one. That's the one right there. We do have an extra one. We should swap it out. Now that we know which one it is. It's fine tonight. Unless you intend on speaking. We'll give one more opportunity here. If anybody wishes to provide input on the city's stormwater pollution prevention program, now's the time. Seeing none, I would take a motion to close the public hearing for the city's stormwater pollution prevention program.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Abe.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Leroy. Motion by Zonto, second by Schomer. All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Moving into general business, we have one item tonight, and that would be consider adoption of fund balance policy. And I will pass it off to Administrator Johnson for an introduction, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At the end of your November 18th budget workshop, the council discussed potential fund balance policies and how you might allocate those dollars to future needs, reserves, levy reduction, bond payment early, ensuring cash flow adequacy and such. So cities do consider various priorities and policies to that effect. As I left that workshop with you folks, and I think these were what you had discussed. And if from a process standpoint, staff always would like to have the council adopt the policy formally. And if your folks are comfortable at this time, you could do that. The needed date on these, frankly, is probably not until you get close to your end of near your audit timeline. Because that's when these numbers would be trued up, and then you can maybe allocate those dollars. So that's when you should have some kind of further policies in place, whether it's these or something else.
Okay. Thank you. Council members, any questions, comments?
I do, but I'll defer to others first.
Zonto.
I was just gonna reply off of what Bill had provided, so. I tend to agree that snowplow reserve, I don't think we probably need that one in there. And I'm all for levy reduction, but I think that we need to consider putting our budgeted projects before our levy reduction, especially with some of the larger projects that we know for a fact are coming. And then short term. Is it 1 to 3 year? I don't know. But if it's not 1 to 3 year right now, then that would bypass that one. But I think it would behoove us to leave that one below the budgeted projects. Otherwise, I thought it was well done.
Yeah, just a quick comment on that, by the way, is I agree with you that the budgeted projects accounts probably needs to be a higher priority. And I think my intent was to recommend that we move the levy reduction one down to the bottom of it. Consider the other ones are longer term items and more forward thinking. The snow plowing one, yeah, I'd go either way on that one. You know, given that there's an opportunity with a general contingency reserve that could be covered by that if need be. Other than that, I think I was fine with the rest of it. The only one, and just something to think about is 1 to 3 the right year on budgeted projects? If you're thinking about some road,
That's almost the minimum.
right, I mean, you think about, we're planning our road CIP 5-10 years in advance, and if we're gonna use it as an opportunity to avoid bonding and avoid the debt service, you might need more than 3 years to add reserves for that. So that might be just something to consider on priority number 6.
So I
Bill,
thought about this some more today, and I sent out some comments over the weekend and redlined them, and you all have a copy. If you need a hard copy, I have copies here. But I was thinking today, and I looked up the Minnesota State Auditor recommendations for what type of reserves cities should have on their books. And they recommend, I want to get it right, hold on. They recommend 35 to 50% of operating revenues as a general policy. And they don't go into, okay, well, this is a priority, this is a priority. That's up for us to decide. And then I know Prior Lake is 40 to 50%. They have a range, and I believe Savage is 40%. They don't have a range. So,
And Bill, are those ones all in, or is that specific to general fund?
that is all in. Well,
Mhm.
it's definitely operating. It's definitely the general fund.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I was looking at the percentages that were in the draft, 45% for the general cash flow, we definitely need a reserve for that. 15% for contingency. We're already at 60%, which is 10% more than the state auditor recommends for operating funds. So I'd probably want to lower those percentages. As far as and I don't know if you guys had any comments on some of the language that I redlined in there. I tried to make it a little more clearer, and I used some of the language actually from the Prior Lake. They have a really nice finance policy that you can go online and read. As far as we have lots of reserves right now. In fact, at the end of this year, according to last month's submission by Abdo, we have roughly 6.9. At the end of this year, we'll have $6.9 million of fund balance after everything is paid for. And of that, the general fund is 3.4 million. Debt service is 1.4. Capital projects, we already have a balance of 1.4. Lot fees and turn lanes, that'll be used next year, but at the end of this year, it's 460,000, and then the park fund was 218,000. So total of about $6.9 million of fund balances. The general fund is one that I've been focusing on because that's the one that I think we have excess reserves. And I'm all for planning for the future. If we have a project we think we're going to have to do in the next 1 to 3 years, and it's estimatable, it's known, it's going to happen. It's not like it may happen, it may not happen. I'm all for reserving for those things a certain dollar amount. What I'm not comfortable with is over the last 5 to 10 years, I don't know how long it's been going on, but we have an excess reserve in our general fund of over almost $2 million. And I'm not comfortable taking that levy excess that we've either conservatively budgeted, or we've done a great job on expenditures. Maybe we didn't do some things we said we were going to do, maybe we got more, we received more revenue than we expected. All those things, and nothing's bad. It's not, you know, we didn't do it in bad faith. It's just, it is what it is. I'm not in favor of taking that excess levy amounts that we collected and apply it to future things that we never told the taxpayers that we're gonna do with that money. My preference is that excess fund has to be returned to the taxpayers over the next, we can call 1 to 5 years, and, you know, we do 20% next year, we do 20% the following year. That way, if something does come up where we, you know, we have a need for it right away, that we could, you know, we could suspend giving back that excess. So we don't take it all in 1 year, but we take it over time. That's what I've been thinking about. And Mr. Mayor, I'd like you guys to think about that. And maybe we table this for another discussion or for a workshop. But I'd like to get your thoughts too on that. Especially if the fact that we have so much excess in our general fund reserve today, whether it's really fair to our taxpayers that we use that money for something that we never talked to the taxpayers about. We were collecting it for a specific reason. Does that make sense? Everyone?
Yeah, I think, Bill, I wholeheartedly agree with some of the points that you made, and you know, there's some things to consider there. And certainly, I think probably not something that we're prepared to make any type of recommendations or any plan tonight, because we
Right.
probably need more information and more work on, you know, if you do, frankly, in my mind is think about, okay, then is the timing not the right time? Is the timing then once the audit's done and you actually know what the balances are into next year, and then make decisions based upon those facts of where does that go, and do you have some sort of a plan then at that point?
Right.
If you're gonna do whether it's a levy reduction or you know, or by then we might have more information about maybe some ideas on projects that where you potentially create a fund for. We might know more about capital improvement plan or something where we might say, okay, not this year, but the next year, maybe it's a bigger road project that you may want to avoid debt service on, and use some of that capital for something like that, right? So those are the kinds of things I think that are opportunities, and not only that, but we do have some outstanding debt right now, that's the other opportunity. You could do something like that and avoid some interest payments. Again, needing some work.
After you run the numbers, yeah. to
Right,
determine whether-
that's why I'm saying I'm not ready to make that decision tonight,
Right.
because you need some work with some finance people on putting those numbers together and putting the plan together,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So it might even be one of those things that if it times out, again, depending on how it goes on our hiring for a finance director, it might be something that, yep. But again, I agree with the fact that maybe, you know, also I appreciate you, Bill, your comments that you sent to us. Unfortunately, I didn't see it till this morning, didn't get a whole lot of time to review it. So I really was hoping that we could table it anyways, so that we could spend some time with that.
Most of it was just language changes.
Yeah, I know, I could see them, a lot of it was punctuation and just changes of words, and
Right.
those things I'm good with. It's just, you know, reading through some of those paragraphs and stuff that were redlined, and not a problem with it necessarily, just need some time to digest it.
Yeah.
So,
Going forward, just to add, going forward, I'm okay with this. We may have to change the percentages. I think that they're too high, but going forward, it's just the excess we have today on our books. That's the piece that I'd like to resolve. Like, what are we gonna do with that?
so,
And my preference is giving it back to the taxpayers
so,
unless we have some type of thing that comes up in the next year or two where we have to do something.
so maybe here's an opportunity for a two-step approach.
Mhm.
Maybe we table this policy for a couple weeks, and let's see if we have some time to review what Bill redlined.
Mhm.
And see if there's any opportunity, you know, see if we're all okay with it, right?
Mhm.
Digest it a little bit,
Mhm.
and then we can have a discussion about the policy at the next council. Well, do you want to do it the next one? We have, no,
Yeah, Mayor, Council, you have your truth and taxation.
yeah,
One thing I was gonna bring up at the end of your meeting is try to see if we can slot some time with Liza. I think we would hope for the
Yeah.
16th, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously your council meeting, and to digress slightly, your all points about having your finance director on board, being involved in that conversation might really be
Yeah,
important. So as I started off, I think, I don't know if 2 weeks or 4 weeks is critical here.
right.
And you're wrap this up in Marchish, February, if that person's on board, might give us more guidance too.
True.
So,
Yeah, I'm okay, Tim, because we're not gonna make any decisions about moving anything until after audits anyways, so we've got time.
As long as the numbers come in.
yeah,
Reasonable next week or 2 weeks. from now.
well, that's up to you guys. That's.
Right, they should, based on what we talked about last time. Yeah, I think later on would be tabling it for now.
Mhm.
Does anyone want, if anyone's interested in the state auditor, white paper or whatever, it's only 6 pages, so it's not incredibly long. I can forward that to Eric and.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Santo.
Yeah, and I just wanna say, I don't think any of us are on different pages as far as giving the excess back. It's now how do we do it and
Yeah.
creating a policy, so.
Yep.
I agree wholeheartedly. If we've got that much extra, let's look at how we can get some of that back. But yet not shoot ourselves in the foot if
Yeah.
and when there's a
Right,
project.
let's
we know
not be
is coming.
short-sighted about it, right? You know,
Yep.
make sure that we're on the right path, so. Okay. All right, with that, somebody want to make a motion to table this?
I'll make a motion to table.
Second. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jay. You want to put a time on it? Should we put a,
February meeting or late February? How about after
February
the
meeting?
city admin, after the finance director is like in place,
what if that doesn't happen for?
or February?
What
What are we shooting? for?
Earlier of the two.
Well, whichever comes first,
Yeah.
right?
What are we shooting for?
Well,
Tomorrow.
well, yeah, the deadline for the application is the 20th.
Okay,
And then as fast as we can process them, and when can they start? I think if you aim for the end of February, that might be, I'd
Okay,
offer,
March.
give that a whirl.
Let's say, no later than the second meeting in March, just to give us a padded time, right? Okay, so otherwise, if we do have a finance director in place sooner than later and we're ready to take it up sooner, we can move it ahead. But let's put that as kind of our drop dead time to move on that. So
Okay.
you're good with that
Yep.
amendment to your motion?
yes.
Okay, and you're good with seconding it still?
Second.
All right, so I've got a motion and a second to table the adoption of the fund balance policy to whichever comes first, finance director on board and prepared to talk about it, and or the second meeting in March. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Staff and council member reports, Eric.
The meeting on the 16th, you do have, again, the truth and taxation is scheduled for 6. And how, how long will that go is always an unknown, and then matters on your agenda. So, trying to time a meeting with Liza, Donbauer. I can't imagine it would be more than an hour, I would argue. I don't know what your all schedules are, so if she could make a 7:30 start time, theoretically, would
Mhm.
that work for you folks?
Yeah,
Okay.
turn the temperature down and make sure it's cold and keep everybody awake.
Unless it snows or something, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Abe?
2 things. Calendar for next year. Do we have that in motion for, okay, so that'll be next. Okay,
We have a draft kind of framed up already, but I know that's coming the first meeting in January, is it? Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
and secondly, we got a building committee meeting here on Wednesday. Coming up.
Okay. Thank you. Leroy?
Nothing.
No? No, okay. Got nothing other than watch out for cows.
Yeah, watch out.
There's a couple of cows running around
They
yet.
find them yet?
I think there's still 2 on the
There's 2 on the
loose.
loose. Whose are they? Like, whose are they? Is it the cousin of somebody? and-
Yeah.
Forget it.
Long story.
Jay, anything?
Nothing.
Bill?
Our vision meetings for the month of December have been canceled since we are now just in limbo, waiting for the feedback to come back. So we canceled
Okay.
both of them in December.
Perfect, thank you. Jane? Nothing? Amy? No? All All right.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Abe.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Got a motion by Zonto, seconded by Marker to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. 25 minutes.
19 minutes or 17 is the record.
Uh,
I told my wife if I'm home after 7, there's a big problem.
agreed. It might be the first time I actually get home for the first opening of the football game.
Yeah. Huh?
Won't even be able to listen out anyway.
What'd you think of the
Chicago?
lateral from the wide receiver back to Allen yesterday?
Oh,
Well, he was going to throw a block for him.
I know. Maybe wants to see the list of claims.
Name another quarterback out there that really did that.
Yeah. There was some just like wild games. I still can't
When I
believe.
saw